Oh, right. Sorry. Sorry. I was just reading something on the side. Hello there and happy Easter. So
we're in April already.
Oh, we're like halfway done with April.
Like what is 2022 becoming?
Truly? I honestly don't even know. I feel like it's like an exciting year for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's things are going well. Finally signed terms with the brokerage, which is like super exciting, and just like work. You're enjoying your days. You're going to Egypt. It's wild that it's already.
I love that you think me going to Egypt is like a big positive. It's really not, but it's cute that you think that. But I'll let you have it.
Well, it's just I think it's just like it's nice. You're going to spend some time with your family.
Once again, I think it's cute that you think that that's a positive. But okay.
Well, look, you're traveling internationally. That's huge. Not many people are traveling internationally at the moment.
That's true. That's true.
And so,
because COVID doesn't exist in Egypt, they don't give a fuck out there. They really don't.
It doesn't exist here either.
COVID what?
It doesn't really exist here either. So, interested to see like how, if it feels any different than it does here now. Cause like, I know I don't get asked about my vaccine card anymore. No masks. So
yeah. So definitely no masks in Egypt. I don't think anybody really cares about any of that. We have this thing where we say like, inshallah, which is like, anytime anybody says anything like, oh, am I going to see you later for dinner? It's like, oh, inshallah, which is like in God's plans or in God's way or whatever.
Like if he wills it.
Exactly. And so I just have a feeling like given the culture, everyone's like, yeah, inshallah, I won't get COVID. It's fine. Let me like not wear a mask. Like I could totally see that being the argument.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like people are out there living their lives and they have for past however period of time. Yeah, I was looking up actual requirements going into Egypt.
Okay.
And apparently you need a test 72 hours before your flight. So doable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need one coming?
Yes. So you do
right.
need a test, but that needs to be like 24 hours before.
But you don't need a PCR.
No, I think you do need a PCR coming into the U.S.
Really? When we flew from Mexico, we did not need a PCR. You just need the antigen, which is why you can do it like 24 hours before, because PCRs usually don't come back that quickly.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So I would look into that because they're like a lot easier to get.
Also, like regulations keep changing every so often.
Fair.
They have extended the mask mandate though, so we have 2 more weeks of that. It was supposed to end, I think, on the 15th of April, but they've extended it for 2 more weeks. So meaning I will be required to, which is interesting because I don't think France has because we're doing a stop in Paris in Charles de Gaulle before we have to take our, connecting flight to Cairo. And I'm pretty sure Paris has like pretty much removed all restrictions at this point on their flights. But because I'm flying a US brand airline, I have to wear a mask on an international flight.
That's so annoying. But at the airport, you won't have to wear
it. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I won't have to wear it in
Paris.
I mean, I don't know.
Have to wear it here.
Yes, I will have to wear it here. But like in Paris, I won't have to wear it. And then I think Paris to Cairo, I won't have to wear it. And then in Cairo, I won't have to wear it. Maybe I will just because, it's Egypt.
Better safe than never or than not.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, keep us posted on how it goes. I don't even remember the last time I was on a plane. That's a lie. I do. Without a mask.
I was like,
like, wait,
girl,
literally knows. No. I mean, without a mask.
I know. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I feel like a 5-hour flight is fine, but I think it's like a 10-hour flight from SFO to Paris. And so I'm just thinking
eat.
like,
just have snacks and just
throughout
keep
the
eating.
entire flight. Just like keep eating. That's not
just
a problem.
Keep eating. You'll be fine. Well, okay. So really quickly, I guess before we go ahead and get into our BBQs of the week, I guess we can like do a little bit of housekeeping and maybe just kind of give our listeners a little bit of a heads up since you are going to be in Egypt for 3 weeks. So
yeah, wow. Dear Lord.
I can't wait to get like the text messages about
how things are not going great.
No, it's going to be great. We're giving you positive vibes. We're not thinking like that. It's going to be lovely. So I guess, we're still trying to figure out like what makes the most sense, but given like the time zone difference and the fact that like, you're going to be doing like family shit and whatnot, again, just for our listeners, we are going to be playing around a little bit with the content. We're going to keep, as of right now, our Monday, Wednesday drop. We believe, and this might shift around a little bit, but as of right now, the plan is to have BBQs as scheduled on Mondays. It may be just me. If Maddie needs an excuse to get out of anything, maybe she'll pop in. But like, honestly, dragging this like whole setup and shit would be awful. So, we're going to say maybe, but maybe not. Or it's unlikely. We might have some guests, TBD. And then on Wednesdays, the plan, I believe, is to do more of like the Reddit threads as opposed to like our normal scheduled content.
Like, I love like the what would you do? That's what I would call them, like the what would you do segment.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So what would you do?
Yeah.
Done.
I like that. It will be like scandalous shit. Like the more scandalous, the better. Yes, I love it.
For sure. And, the Virgin Mary over here, I'll give my best. I'll do my best to give a good answer.
Y'all, I need to tell you guys, earlier today, Alina texted me. She was just, are we like kind of like a sex podcast? And I was like, excuse me, what? I was like, no, I don't think so. I mean, sometimes we talk about sex. We're not a sex podcast. I was like, LOL, my co-host, the Virgin Mary over here, while we're doing a sex podcast. Yeah, totally.
No. So the reason why I said that, I was listening to another podcast that someone had recommended. I was like, this is like kind of like a similar podcast or something like that. So I was listening to it and I was just like, oh, this is a sex podcast. And then I was like, wait, do people think that we're like a sex podcast now? Because we've, anyway. But yeah, so I'm the Virgin Mary, in case anyone was wondering. Apparently that's my name. Yep. It's that or the prude. I will answer to either or. But we're going to have a new segment for you all. What would you do? Would also love to hear from anyone. What would you do? Tell us about it on social.
Yeah. And if you'll have like suggestions on what scenarios you'd like for us to cover, please like DM us, tweet us, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You know how to get a hold of us.
We want to hear about the crazy shit that like you've had to deal with, and then we will give our professional input on what we would do in that situation. So
quote unquote professional.
I mean, we psychoanalyze each other every time we chat.
That's
so
true.
we may as well just start psychoanalyzing other people too, right?
Yeah.
Let's embrace it. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm sad you're going to be gone for 3 weeks. I feel like that's like an eternity these days, but it'll probably go by really quickly. I will do my best to hold down the fort, Mom. And,
you got this. I believe in you.
But yeah, so I feel like there was like a shit ton that went down in like the world of celebrities and pop culture this week. So should we maybe like jump into it?
Yes, please, let's. And so for our listeners, new and old, this is our segment called Basic Bitch Quickies, and it's where we do a lightning round of top headlines and, quick overviews of like shows, reality shows, blah, 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 and just give sort of our 2 cents on the matter. And with that, Alina, are you ready?
Let's fucking do it.
Dun, 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 dun. First one on the list, Britney Spears, pregnant.
Okay. So
how you feeling?
I'm trying to like collect my thoughts here. I mean, I'm so excited for her, right? That was one of the things that she was dying to get out of the conservatorship for, right? Because she was like, I want a baby with the man that is going to be my husband, and they forced her to have an IUD, which is just like, what? But the post was like so weird. And there are times when I literally text my friend, Chelsea, who is like one of the biggest Britney fans. And I'm like, can you translate this? Cause what? And I feel like this is one of those posts. But then someone confirmed it, so I knew.
I just like sometimes wonder, is it an emotional maturity thing where she doesn't know how to communicate as like, I don't want to say eloquently, but as concisely? Because she's like been kept away from people for so long. So it's like she has a very small circle of people that she communicates with. So probably from an EQ standpoint, she's a little stunted. Or I remember you had told me before, and it might have been Chelsea that had this conversation with you that you then iterated to me, that it's almost like a Southern thing a little bit.
Yeah. So I don't remember who showed me that. It might have been Chelsea, or maybe it was Katie. Shout out to both of you, by the way. There was like a TikToker who was like, oh, it appears that people are confused by Britney's like Instagrams or her whatever. And so she like did a dictation, I guess, of it in the nice. Southern drawl or the Southern voice. And it was so interesting because reading it, I was like, come again? But then hearing it, I was like, oh, she's not.
Makes sense.
Uneducated. I was like, oh, I like understood what she was saying. So maybe it is that. Yeah. Maybe we can like reach out to this TikToker and be like, hey, can you do this?
Can
like,
you just
can you do another one and just like
right
translate
That's
it,
so
or
funny.
at least just like read it in the way that you heard it in your head, so that we can all understand like what exactly she meant. But let me read for those of you who maybe haven't seen it, although you're probably not listening to this podcast if you haven't heard this news yet. Okay, so she read, and I quote. Sorry. I lost so much weight to go on my Maui trip only to gain it back. This emoji. I thought, geez, what happened to my stomach? My husband said, oh, on that note, sorry. Do we think that they are already married? Because she keeps calling him her husband. So we'll come back to that. My husband said, no, you're food pregnant, silly. This face. So I got a pregnancy test and, well, I'm having a baby. 4 days later, I got a little more food pregnant. This. If two were in there, I might just lose it. This face. So I feel like this one's a little bit more clear than the one I thought I read initially.
She has interesting storytelling cadence. Let's just say that.
I feel like her brain, like if you listen to her speak, she kind of like talks like this, and she's like kind of moving at 100 miles a minute. So I wonder if that's like just how her brain works.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Do we think they're married? Because I think they are.
I think so. She probably was like, I mean, I would imagine if I were in her shoes, having gone through a conservatorship, like your fear of losing your freedom is probably heightened, and that's a trauma for you. So you're going to want to do everything all at once. So she probably already married him. Like they eloped. It's probably why they went to Maui, and now she's preggers. I'm actually really happy for her. I think this is amazing. I think it's a great next step for her. I also heard that she plans on releasing music.
What? Where did you hear this? How did I not?
So it was on Twitter, and it was like one of those pop culture type update Twitter feeds. And they were like, apparently there's a rumor going around that Britney's planning on releasing music either this year or next. I'm sure though, with her being pregnant now, that may change the timeline. But I think it'd be kind of cool if she did.
I mean, I think everyone in the world can agree that like we're ready for Britney to make a comeback in the music industry. Also, although didn't she say that she would like never do it again because she was so tired of working?
Yeah, but I think if she's now coming at it from like, I want to do it myself. Like this is something I do want to do. Also, side note, can we just acknowledge the fact that two like pop star queens are pregnant? Like icons are pregnant. We have Britney Spears and Rihanna pregnant at the same time.
But Rihanna's like giving birth like tomorrow, right?
Yeah, she is. But still, like they're going to be born.
Yes.
Well, maybe they're going to be born within the same like year period.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I'm very excited. I'm excited to see what Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby looks like.
Ooh, speaking of, shall we go into our next topic?
Yes.
Okay, so clearly you haven't heard yet. Designer Amina Muaddi responds to vile cheating rumor regarding A$AP Rocky and Rihanna.
So I did read this. I saw that she posted. I feel like she didn't like come out and blatantly say like I didn't fuck him or whatever, but like she basically said, oh, by the way, sorry, let me take a step back. Amina is a designer for Fenty. So she's like, she works with Rihanna, and I'm assuming that that's maybe
she's a shoe designer.
Them. Yes, I actually love her shoes, and I want a couple of pairs, but unfortunately, my budget's like, bitch, you're going to go to Target and buy yourself those shoes. So anyway, so at the moment, one day. But yeah, so basically she was just like, you know, I normally just kind of like ignore the social media trolls and these rumors, and like I don't engage in it. But she was just like, this is just so fucked up. Like at a time when a woman is going through such a vulnerable period, like literally Rihanna is like about to give birth and she's like got to deal with this shit, you know? I mean, Khloe, Tristan, it was true, but this apparently it's not. So she just came out and like kind of that was the acknowledgement of it, and then said like it was so vile that I felt the need to just respond. But she did not say we did not hook up, for the record.
Yeah, but she is dispelling it though. She didn't blatantly say we did not hook up, but she did dispel the rumor saying like this is not true. So it is in a way a form of her like saying that it's not true.
Oh yeah. No, I know. She's saying it, but I kind of like appreciated that she was like, we're like, I'm not even gonna like.
Oh, she was a class act
about it.
Yeah, she's a class act about it. Also, when I first heard the news, when this popped up, and mind you, it hadn't spread like wildfire as I thought it was going to. I was actually kind of shocked because when you look at ASAP and you look at Rihanna and you've seen the interviews that they've done recently and how they are on red carpets, like in my head, I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I don't believe it at all. However, when Tristan Thompson cheated on Khloe Kardashian without the videos, mind you, I was just reading the headlines. I hadn't seen the videos yet. I believed it. You know what I mean? Like, I just like don't think, given how enamored ASAP is with Rihanna and how happy they both are. Exactly. She's Rihanna. He's also like loved her for like ever since they did Fashion Killer together. I'm not 100% sure because I think she like friend zoned him for a while. They did Fashion Killer, and I think that's when he like absolutely fell in love with her. I don't know if you ever heard that song. Because she's a fashion killer. Nah, 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 nah.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry. I don't have like names or anything like that.
LOL. So I couldn't believe it. And then when she came out and I really loved the way that she framed it of like, this is supposed to be the happiest time, you know, in a woman's life and that journey. And for people to take something so despicable and like keep it going when there's no truth to it. And she kind of mentioned how like she wasn't surprised, I guess, with like how our society tends to take something, just run with it without actually looking at the truth or trying to find the truth, which I was like, girl, with you all the way.
100%.
And yeah, I thought she was a class act about it. I never believed the rumors to begin with. And I just hope A$AP Rocky and Rihanna are happily, you know, enjoying the pregnancy life together, and that, you know, she has a happy, healthy baby. And honestly, I love them together. And I just love the way that he looks at her. There was one interview that they did where they were on the red carpet, and she's doing an interview with one reporter and then he's doing it with another, and she's talking to the reporter and he's getting distracted by her. And he was like, hold on, she's just too beautiful. And he like walks over her and starts holding her and her belly. And I was like, oh my God. I couldn't.
Yeah, I was anyway. Thinking he like stares at her like she's the only person in the room, and I think that is amazing. And I'm pissed Mark doesn't do that. Let's go, Mark. No, I'm joking. But no, yeah, no.
I don't know if he'd be able to handle that.
No. Although Mark, it's so funny because he'll be like, I think you should get your eyebrows microbladed. He's like, I think you're ready for a touch up. I'll be like, when was the last time you got your nails done? Be like, do you want to go get a manicure? He keeps me in check. But anyway, Yeah, no, I agree. Also, just on this side note, like I feel like this was kind of sort of like we don't remember this, but I think it's interesting. A$AP Rocky used to date Kendall Jenner, which is like so weird to me.
Yeah, but wasn't it like for like a few weeks? Like it wasn't like a serious thing.
No, I thought it was like a while that they dated.
Oh. Yeah, I thought it was interesting because like, I don't know if you know this, but some folks tend to mistake A$AP Rocky and Travis Scott a lot.
That's the next thing I was going to say.
Yeah. And so the fact that, you know, Kylie's sisters were dating them both at the same period of time.
Yeah.
There were some interesting situations where I guess the paparazzi and or fans where I don't know if they were like intentionally doing it to piss them off or like were accidentally doing it and calling the other one by the other's name.
Oh, that's annoying.
Which is like so disrespectful.
Yeah.
But I do remember that period of time, but I also don't remember them being together for long.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of like it happened and then it was over.
Yeah. Like it wasn't like a major thing.
But yeah, I guess my point is like A$AP Rocky, good for you. Like begging some, you know, hot chicks. But yeah, I'm glad that she came out and like defended it, or not defended, but like she just dispelled it, we'll say, and was just like, this is fucking dumb. Goodbye. We're not even giving this a moment. And I think like, yeah, like people need to just get a life. Just get a life. Stop trying to ruin everyone else's. Not cool.
I wonder who started the rumor. Like, I want to know the reason like behind why this person did it. Or maybe conspiracy theory. Maybe A$AP is coming out with an album or something is going on and that's why this rumor has taken flight. But then again, if it were really for a PR reason, I feel like it would have like run like wildfire, you know, or spread like wildfire.
That, and I also feel like the baby alone is kind of like enough publicity for him right now. It's like, why would you then have to...
That's fair.
Like overshadow it. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
But yeah, okay. So what else is happening? Because I know there's like literally so much going on right now in the world.
Oh my God.
Our world. And the world.
Our world. So I don't know if you heard, but Amber Heard and Johnny Depp are back in court for a defamation case. Question for you. Whose side are you on?
Okay, so I'm not going to lie. I was starting to do a little bit of research, but as you know, I've had like the moms were here. And so like, I've just been like living a little bit under a rock at the moment, or this week, just because like we've just been busy. And then, you know, today was Easter and I, you know, decided to give up dessert for Lent. And so I decided I was like religious this year, but not really. And so it's just been like kind of chaotic. So I don't know, because like wasn't like this has been super messy divorce. It's been going on for what feels like 10 years at this point. Didn't Amber accuse him of like domestic violence or something, and then he actually came out and was like, no, I have proof that she actually is like abusive towards me. It's like it's a lot of like he, like everything that she is saying he did, he's like, you did the same thing and sometimes worse. Is that right? Am I thinking about this right?
A lot of situations have now been dismissed, and things have come out that were clear and blatant lies.
On whose part?
Amber. So there is a very big community now that is actually very anti-Amber Heard because they feel as if she has now taken people who've actually gone through domestic violence and essentially made it very difficult for them to come forward because she has... There have been several moments, not only through the divorce case, but in this defamation case as well, where it's quite obvious that Amber was manipulative. The other big thing, too, is apparently she said that she was going to use money that she won in court in the divorce or whatever it was, and basically donate all of it to like the ACLU or to charity. And apparently she didn't. And so people are shitting on her for that. That donation was not made. In addition, there's video footage of her getting very cuddly and physical with Elon Musk while she was married to Depp. And so that's been cataloged as evidence in the court. And now it's just a whole bunch of people who are friends that are now coming out and speaking up for Johnny Depp and saying that Amber was physically abusive to him. Their therapist, I think,
I saw
came
that
out yesterday. When was it? I think it was Friday or Thursday. Basically, it was a video that had been done a year or so ago where she mentioned that there had been violence on both of their parts. But Amber had made it seem as if he was the one who had been extremely violent. Also, the fact that Johnny has lost out on so much in Hollywood. Like, he basically got blacklisted after Amber heard her allegations. And the thing is now it's coming out that actually she was the one who was violent towards him. So I don't know if you, of course, being a Harry Potter fan that you are, you know, the Fantastical Beast movies.
He was Grindelwald, right?
Yes. And they've now replaced him with Mads Mikkelsen instead. And so this whole thing has gotten like really messy, really just terrible.
It's
and
mean.
I think a lot of things are now, it is very mean. And I think it's hard too, because in court, they were talking about Johnny Depp's upbringing and how his mom was really violent towards him too. And so I don't know. I feel terrible for him. Like, if there were violence on both of their parts, like, clearly they were both in the wrong. But from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, Amber Heard seems to have some really bad anger issues. And she really took it out on him. And he basically had to pay the price with his career.
So
he'll be fine, of course, but, you know, being Johnny Depp. But yeah. It's not great. Her personal assistant, by the way, her former personal assistant, testified in court this past week, for Johnny Depp, saying that Amber was a piece of shit.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wait, so this is a stupid question, but for myself as well, again, I haven't really had a chance to follow up on this. Like, I knew high level that this was going on. And like I said, they've had a really messy divorce. And basically all the allegations she made against him, there was also like a case for him against her as well. But my question for you is, so is he suing her for defamation because it's basically destroyed his career? Okay, that's what I thought. Yes. I just wanted to make sure.
So that's the most recent case. That's why all of this has been brought back up, is because it just happened this week. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that there's like any way, let's say that he wins this case, do you think there's any way that, like, you know, is it Warner Brothers? Warner Brothers is Harry Potter. Is that right? I'm impressed I knew that.
Look at you.
But like, is there any way
it's going to be Discovery Warner now? I think, because Discovery just bought out Warner. I think
Discovery.
Yeah, so I think Discovery just bought out,
as in the Discovery Channel. As in Disney.
No, as in so here we go. Discovery closes acquisition of AT&T's Warner Media, so which includes Warner Bros.
But isn't, I don't know. Anyway,
Discovery is not part of Disney. It's like its own separate entity. But isn't that kind of crazy though? I was like, what?
Yeah, that's random. Anyway, very random. But do you think that they maybe walk that back and they, like, I guess though they've already recast him and probably already shooting. So probably not.
Well, here's the thing. So the third movie just got released, actually, and I think this was opening weekend, or it was 2 weekends ago. Warner Bros. Has not greenlit the fourth or fifth movies because they are saying that they want to see how well this one does, because I guess the last movie didn't do as well as they had hoped. Also, it's like, I feel like this trilogy or this new part of the story isn't as exciting as the Harry Potter original storyline was.
No.
But
it never was going to be.
I don't know.
For the record.
Exactly. So I don't think Warner Bros. Is going to do anything. I actually wonder if Johnny was able to keep his money, even though he got cut from the series, because they really did it for optics.
What do you mean keep his money?
Here. Like, keep the check that they cut him for the third movie. But
they pay them before they film?
I don't know how it works.
I don't know. I will do a little bit of digging into this with some of our industry contacts. Okay. So yeah, I guess I'm just interested to see like, will Hollywood kind of like re-accept him into the fold, and does he start to get work after this? Because that's kind of the whole point, right? Like she committed defamation.
Hold on. Johnny Depp gets full salary for Fantastic Beasts 3 after forced exit.
Okay. Well, there you go. But I guess the fact remains that like, sure, she defamed him.
Yeah.
But he didn't not do it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm interested to see like, what are the ramifications, even if he wins this suit, what are the ramifications on his career?
That's a great question. I don't necessarily know. I think what's going to happen is, I think what's been interesting in regards to the rhetoric on social media, especially people who've been so supportive of Johnny Depp throughout all of this, is why hasn't Amber, even though it has been proven at this point that she was extremely violent with him too.
Yeah.
Why hasn't her career been affected?
Does she have a career? What does she do?
So
this is another bitch. And I'm like, who the fuck are you?
She's an Aquaman. Aquaman 2 is coming out soon, or I don't know if they're still filming right now or when the movie is coming out. And Aquaman is part of the Warner Bros. World, part of DC. And it is interesting because a lot of people are like, why? So Johnny Depp basically got fired from Fantastic Beasts. Why can't Amber Heard get fired from Aquaman 2? So there you have it.
Got it.
I think what will most likely happen is Amber will probably face some repercussions. But I think Johnny, at the end of the day, like these people have a shit ton of money. Let's be real.
They're going to be fine.
What will probably happen, they're going to be fine. After like a few months of all of this dying down, everyone is going to forget all about this until like the next Hollywood scandal comes about. So do I feel bad for them? No. I think my heart goes out slightly to Johnny because given the dynamics within typical domestic violence abuse cases, I think he got judged way too quickly by society as a whole. And as things played out, then we realized that like, oh, this is actually like equal faults here. And I think they made him out to be a villain when he wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see, how this goes. I read somewhere that like, I don't know, one of Amber's friends ended up getting ejected from the courtroom. So I feel like it's not looking that good for her, but who knows? I feel like anything can happen. So we'll definitely keep everybody informed of how this turns out. I'm personally like less concerned about the case or the suit or the trial. I don't know what the right term is here. I'm more interested to see like what is the downstream like impact to their careers and whatnot, because I feel like obviously that was what spurred the whole case. So does it even like, even if he wins, does it even turn anything around? TBD.
Well, I think for Johnny it will. I think that now he's kind of like showcased to the world that like, hey, I'm not the villain that she made me out to be. We both had our issues, and this is actually what happened. So I think that there will be more of a welcoming of him back into Hollywood. I don't know how it's going to affect Amber, but like I said, I just feel like within a few years, all of this will have been as if it didn't exist. I mean, remember what Mel Gibson's scandal? I don't know why I want to compare it to that, but like when he literally said the most racist fucking shit possible and everyone was like, this is it. Mel Gibson is done for. And lo and behold, he's like, what was it? Like a few years later, all of a sudden he's starting to make movies again. And he's doing pretty well for himself. So, I think in Hollywood, it just takes a little bit of time.
Yes. I feel like it has to be like we have to be seen as doing something, and then, which is not just Hollywood. That's life.
Yeah.
But yeah, so interested to see, I'm like a mess right now. Interested to see what happens. And just how the case plays out. So we'll keep everyone, informed. Yeah. Unless nothing interesting happens, then we won't waste our time. But what else are we chatting about today?
Apparently this week I'm just going to call this the divorce galore update. two celebrities, as we know it, are in the midst of divorce proceedings. First one, Ali Wong and husband Justin Hakuta divorced after 8 years of marriage.
Okay.
That one made me particularly sad because she talks about their marriage a lot during her comedy.
I know.
So I was like, what? Also, it's weird to me that they've only been married for 8 years because I feel like when she came out with her first comedy special, I thought it was like way longer than 8 years ago.
Yeah, me too. Because no, I think it was, that actually makes sense because I remember watching it when I lived in San Francisco in North Beach. I remember watching, it was a Baby Cobra. Is that what it was called?
Yes.
So, yeah. She was,
yeah.
No, she was pregnant. Was she? I don't know.
Yeah, she was like pregnant in 2 of her specials, and then the last one she wasn't pregnant.
Okay, so then maybe, anyway, no, I actually, when I saw this, I was like, oh, like, I have zero opinion of him. I think she's funny, but like, I love Always Be My Maybe. Love that movie. Watch it when I like need a little pick me up. But generally speaking, you know, she's not like an obsession that I have. Like, she's not my Chrissy Teigen, you know? I don't keep up with her like I do the Kardashians. That was funny.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. It made me a little bit sad. I think to your point, like, especially because she talks about like how like we've seen the entirety of like the trap him, the he got me knocked up, the being a mom is hard. And so I feel like, yeah, like we kind of like have experienced or lived through their entire relationship, and it's like given her so much content and stuff. I heard, and I haven't watched the newest, was it Don Wong? I haven't watched that special yet, but I heard that apparently like she was kind of not laying the groundwork, but people were like, oh, is there trouble in paradise? Because apparently she talked a lot about like
being single or wanting to be single and how good it is. Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Not. So I watched part of it. I haven't watched the full thing. Yeah, she does mention that. And there are some other snippets in there that made me also be like, I like, to your point, is there trouble in paradise? Yeah, it's just to like what you said earlier with like how we kind of saw the evolution of their relationship through her comedy. It was like how she connected with her audience was through relatable stories of her marriage. And so I think that's why it kind of tugs at the heartstrings a little bit, especially people who've like watched her stuff. Because it's like, oh man, now I wonder what her content is going to be about. Probably about dating.
Maybe like a single mom and dating. But yeah, so I read somewhere, I didn't read the book, but I guess she has like a biography because, you know, who doesn't have a fucking biography at this point in time? And she talks about the prenup. So Jason Hakuta, right? Is that his name? Hakuta. Apparently his dad is like an inventor and he's like some CEO of a company, whatever. He's super, super wealthy guy. So she really did trap this motherfucker. But apparently, I guess his dad, I'm not gonna lie, I think rightfully so, like forced a prenup on them, or maybe it was him, I don't know. But she, I guess, talks about how like that's what it was like, quote unquote, the best thing that ever happened to her career, because it encouraged her to be like, you know what, I can't rely on a man. I got to make my own money. So that like encouraged her to kind of pursue her comedy and blah, blah, blah. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I know this isn't a what would you do, but what are your thoughts on the whole, because she really like shits on the idea of a prenup and is like, I was forced to sign it. And I'm like, look, as somebody who brought nothing to my marriage, but I had student loan debt and shit. I feel really strongly that like, I think anything that's made while you're together, unless you have a different plan and structure, is marital property. But I think like anything that you brought into the marriage, like I think that makes total sense. To have a prenup.
I mean,
if you have enough, it's worth a prenup.
So, I don't know how common prenups are within Egyptian culture. I don't know anybody in my family who signed one, probably because nobody in my family has really done the whole. Also, divorce is just different out there.
Yeah.
I think yes, I agree with you that like whatever you built on your own, preceding the marriage, is yours, rightfully so. You're like, your significant other had nothing to do with you building that.
And whether that be wealth or debt, for the record. Sorry, I just want to throw that out.
Exactly.
There. That's how I feel.
Exactly. 100%. I feel like once you are married, You know, I think I've talked about this before, and apologies in advance because I feel like I'm so tired that like my brain is struggling to like make words make sense in a sentence.
Same, girl, same.
But you and I have talked about this, about sort of the unseen pressures and unseen duties and unseen responsibilities that a lot of women handle within a relationship. And I've seen men, and there's this ongoing trend on TikTok where women will pretend to be men on podcasts, because let me tell you right now, some men, you give a man a microphone, dear Lord, the shit that comes out of their mouths. But some guys do believe that the woman has no right to anything that they make, even within the marriage, which problematic as fuck to me, because once again, I think about the dynamic that I have with my husband and the dynamic that you have with your husband, right? Of like, we literally manage the household, you know what I mean? And that is kind of perceived as like an unseen currency, and sometimes, you know, like not recognized by others, even though it takes a lot out of us to do so. And also, like, let's say that your significant other does end up making millions through whatever, but like, I always go back to like that phrase, and I know it's going to sound so fucking corny, but behind every great man is an even greater woman. And once again, I'm going to get corny and like sort of the romantic vision of this, but you know, it's like when they're down, who's the one who's like beside them, helping bring them up? Who's the one sitting there, like helping them strategize at night on like what the next steps are, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like a true partnership in a lot of ways. And so I feel like, yeah, prenup totally can agree with, but within the marriage itself, like it's fair game. Unless you, what is it? There's like a postnup. Isn't that like another legal document too?
Yes.
That you could sign? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
Like, I want to preface that I have neither signed, by the way. Neither.
Same. I trapped his ass. No, I'm joking. No, but like I agree with that. I think not even the whole like currency or unseen or untangible currency piece, but just like I don't know, without going down this rabbit hole, because that's not the point of the BBQs. I think like generally speaking, you will say maybe in a more traditional marriage, because I can't speak for everybody, and this is like the peanut butter approach that maybe doesn't work for you or you, but like for me, it's like we talk about big purchases. Like I'm not going to go and buy a car without talking to my husband, and that's because I share money with him. And so I don't know, but yeah, that I thought it was just like interesting how it's like she literally gets up on stage though, and she can talk about their sex life and her hairy asshole and things like that. But then she, at the same time, it's like you want to hold that against him. I don't know.
I wonder if he has claim to her money now, because like he's successful in his own way. I think he like has his own company and stuff. But like I wonder with this divorce, I'm sure she made a shit ton more money than he did, given her movies, given her comedy, et cetera, et cetera.
In the state of California, it is a no fault state, or no fault, right? Or basically my understanding is that it's 50% unless you have a prenup. So I guess they have a prenup, but my understanding is that it's 50%, because I know that like when Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt got divorced, 2005, sad time for all of us.
Yes.
That was the first celebrity divorce, by the way, that just hit me, and I didn't know if I was ever going to recover. But I know that like they literally just had to split everything 50-50 because it was all marital property, and that's just the way it's done in California. It's a no fault state. So TBD, we'll find out.
Damn.
Either way, once again, they're going to be fucking fine. Who else is getting divorced? Hit me with it.
Tish Cyrus files for divorce from Billy Ray Cyrus for the third time, mind you. This is the third time they're doing this.
I'm going to say something mean.
Go for it.
Do we care?
That's why we have this podcast.
Do we fucking care?
No, we don't. But,
okay.
It's part of pop culture.
Okay, fine.
Also, I just want to say the way that the article originally had been written, the headline was Miley Cyrus's mother files divorce from Billy Ray Cyrus.
Oh, wow.
I was like, rude.
Rude, but I also feel like, I'm sorry, Tish Cyrus, like, you're an interior decorator. I think she's great. Like, I'm pretty sure she does Miley's homes. And I don't remember if it was like an architecture digest. I can't speak either today. Like episode or video or clip or something, or if it was another one, but she's great. I think she's such a cool, funky style, but you're probably going to get more clicks if you put Miley Cyrus's name. So look, as somebody who we're trying to learn about SEO and all that shit, I get it. A little disrespectful, but you know what? It's not necessarily like a glowing article, right? It's like, oh, this bitch can't decide what she wants to do. She's divorcing this guy for the third time. Do we believe it? Maybe not. I don't know. I don't, but you let me know.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of.
Do we know why she has done this like 100 times or 3 times now?
So I think Billy actually filed it the first time. Then they got back together. Then the second time it was her. Then they like didn't show up to court. And decided to like
just kidding,
put it to the side, and now it's popping up again. I wonder if they're just like, you know how sometimes you have like those archetypes of couples, and one of the archetypes is typically those people who are like really passionate, and they're like
toxic,
waving up and down, exactly, toxic, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I wonder if they're kind of that couple, or if this is just a way of proceeding with what they've been wanting to do for a while. Also, their kids are grown up. Like, just do what makes you happy.
Oh, yeah. I'm not divorce. Don't divorce. Like I said, at this point, I don't think anyone really cares, especially because like you've already had the shock value. I think it was like 11 years ago they first filed for divorce. But I'm like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I was a divorce attorney, like, would I take on this case being like, no, you're the boy who cried wolf?
It's money.
Fair.
Like, you charge by the hour. They probably have a retainer. Like,
fair.
They don't give a fuck. They probably love this shit. They'll just be like, yo-yoing that. And it's like, oh, more money for me.
Yeah. I'll file those documents again. Wait, okay. So, what are the chances in your eyes that they actually go through with it this time?
I think in a post-COVID world, probably a lot of people have had some sort of clarity. So I'm going to assume yes. I mean, I'm going to give it like a 60-40 chance.
That they do. Okay.
Third time's the charm. Am I right?
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I trying to decide if I think it's going to happen. So you're 60-40 yes. Should I just like be contradictory and say like I'm 40-60? But they don't.
Oh,
No. I do like that. I do like the idea that in a post-COVID world, people realize what they hate, what they love. And so, all right, we'll see. Well, we can throw a little party if they do get divorced for them in their honor. How about that? I'll make marks on me.
Oh my God.
Okay. What else is going on?
Okay.
Hit me with it.
Okay. So this one, I fucking love Disneyland. And I saw this pop up. I saw the TikTok videos related to it. And I'm going to be honest, it kind of did anger me. So Kim and Khloe accused of hogging the rides at Disneyland. So they decided to do a little trip with the kids. Mm-hmm. And apparently they cut everyone in line, which, you can pay for the VIP packages. And yes, it is part of the experience that you do get to cut the lines. But this is what was interesting is that they forced everyone to stay in line, watching them hog up the rides when they were, and then mind you, this is like the teacups for those of folks who don't know what Disneyland looks like. There is a ride that's themed around Alice in Wonderland and the Mad Hatter and the tea party that they have. And they ended up taking cups and they prevented anybody else from going on the ride with them. And so basically people were pissed. People took TikTok videos, posted on TikTok, of course. And it's like, the wording was they basically don't want to be seated with the peasants. And I was like, dang.
I mean, I don't want to be seated with the peasants. Let's be real.
But here's the thing that's interesting, and a lot of people were comparing it to, Cardi B was at Disneyland, I think like a couple weeks ago before the Kardashians, and she had security with her, but like she, yes, she got to cut people, part of the experience, but other people were riding on the rides with her and her daughter. Like that wasn't a big deal. And so I think having celebrities do that, and especially have people waiting in line, like literally all you see is like the massive line of folks waiting for this ride, and just like literally, I think it was only 2 cups that they took out of like the 15 that are there. It looks ridiculous, honestly.
I just feel like the Kardashians at this point, you guys are like masterminds. They must not give a fuck, to be honest. They're just like, we're so damn rich. You are all going to continue to buy our Spanx. You're going to continue to buy our lip kits when you could go and get ColourPop for $6 for both the gloss and the lip liner. You're going to keep watching our fucking show. You're going to get like, they literally like, I feel like Cardi B has obviously a shit ton of money and like she's so famous and whatever, but like I genuinely feel like the Kardashians are just on a level of like, we could literally shit in front of your door and you would like, it will do nothing. I don't think they're cancelable.
But I think though we're getting to a point where it's becoming disgusting how much they're flaunting their wealth, to a point where, I was excited originally about watching the Kardashians on Hulu. Yeah. I don't want to watch it now because I feel like this display of wealth and like lack of concern for others and feeling like they're on a completely different platform or even on a hierarchy. It bothers me. Like before, I really liked Khloe because she was a little bit more down to earth. And now I feel like they have all reached a certain level of narcissism or out of touchness with society that it is basically repelling people away from them.
I don't disagree with that. And like, you know me, I've never been like a regular, like I haven't seen every single episode of the Kardashians. I'll like watch it if it's on, but after a while, like, and I feel like that's happened to me too with like Summer House and a lot of the other shit that like is just kind of mindless TV or whatever, like even like Instagram and shit. Like even influencers and bloggers, I know friends who will sit for fucking hours and just watch these people's stories about them going grocery shopping. And like, I don't know, part of me is like, oh, I wish that I like cared that much. But the other part of me is like, no, like I feel like that sentiment hit me like a long time with the Kardashians is what I'm saying. And so now I'm like, nothing surprises me because they have been, and don't get me wrong, they're brilliant. I think that they are probably like collectively one of the most intelligent families. They are incredible businesswomen and men. They get it. But I think to your point, I also don't think they got to that point being humble. Right? like yes, being like, look at North's, a horse. This is one of our 14 Frisians. She's posting this in the middle of COVID when people are literally fucking dying on the streets. I don't know. It doesn't surprise me, I guess. Like, and I think that I also think sadly,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I also don't think that like people, I understand your sentiment again. And like, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but I still feel like there is just something so fucking appealing for a lot of people about watching these people live this life that like we can't even understand or fathom. Like I said,
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, no peasants for me, but unfortunately,
look, I think it's like because of the ever increasing like wealth gap. We've discussed this before, and like inflation and all these things. I don't know. It's like one thing to be like, okay, we're paying for this experience. We're going to go 100%. On this ride, cut people. That's fine. But the fact of the matter is like, you think that you are so high and mighty that you should just take the ride and not like open it up to other people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that like rubbed me the wrong way. Here's the other thing. They have enough money that they could actually close down Disneyland, by the way. Like why not do that? You know what I mean? So that they don't have to. Yeah. Why not?
Interesting.
I think that they should have just like been like, okay, we're going to like book the park in its entirety versus essentially like flaunting their jewels and diamonds in front of all of the quote unquote peasants, as people were referring to themselves as. Like, I think it's worse that they're doing it in front of everyday people. Like, there are people who are really struggle to, especially given how like high prices are for Disneyland tickets nowadays, and it keeps just increasing. Like families literally save their whole lives to have this type of experience, and to have someone, you know, just like cut and like take up the whole ride, and you've been waiting for 30 minutes to get on this thing, and your kid is like, mommy, daddy, why can't, you know what I mean? The optics of this isn't great. If they had just rented out the park or rented out a portion of the park, I would have been like, okay, fine. Cause they're doing it with their families. Nobody else can really see what's going on. But the fact of the matter is they did this in front of everyone, like almost intentionally flaunting. And that rubs me the wrong way.
Okay. I again, totally understand your perspective. I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. Given like they're in the public eye all the time. They are subject to, you know, a lot of criticism. They're subject to threats to their safety, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that this doesn't actually prove your point that maybe like, hey, like if you're scared for your safety or whatever it is, like you should probably just rent out the place. But do you think that is why they were like, no, like we just don't want people, like we want a really social distance? Or do you think it's truly just like, no, fuck you, you're poor, don't look at me?
Fuck you, you're poor, don't look at me. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. That's what I think it is. I mean, they could have done what Cardi B had. They had security on site, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to play devil's advocate. I'm just trying to create a dialogue. Okay. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
I don't know. This one just made me
that.
feel disgusted with them. So I was not a fan.
So for all of our listeners, what we've learned is that we're going to remind Muaddi when she is badass, rich and famous one day, we're going to remind this bitch. Don't you dare.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think I would ever get to that point, Alina. I really don't.
I know you wouldn't. I'd like to believe that I won't, but then sometimes I'm like, let me tell you a really quick story again, not to prolong this, because I know we have one more story that we want to get to. But again, this is me, a little bit of devil's advocate. This is me maybe empathizing a little bit with or empathizing, right? One time we went to Catalina Island and we took the ferry. We were like super, super delayed. And when we bought the tickets, and by the time we went to buy them, the only tickets available were like an extra $50 per person. And they were for VIP. And we were like, oh, how annoying, blah, 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 whatever. Long story short, on the way back, we got the last ferry because it was like the weather conditions were so bad. They were like, we can't, like, I was going to say not fly, but we can't. What is this? Sail. I'm like, what is this called? I was like, not Zoom. I was like,
what is this called? When a boat is on water and it goes
and it's moving. What is that called, Mom? Okay. So anyway, it was like so bad. The water was so choppy. I'm not kidding. We were like literally perpendicular to the water at some points. Like I thought we were going to die. And so we're sitting there in VIP. They're giving us ginger ale. They're giving us like vomit bags. They're giving us like ice chips, whatever. And then out of nowhere, somebody opens up the door to our cabin because we're inside and like half of the ferry's outside. So people were literally like outside getting fucking soaked. And somebody literally opened up the door and goes, can we get some help out here? There's a chain vomiting. And somebody literally like shut them out. It was like, get out of here. This is VIP. And okay, moral of the story is that was a moment where I was like, you know what? I'm really fucking happy. I'm not out there with the pores. I'm pretty damn happy that I'm in here with my little ginger ale cup. I'm warm.
Hold on though. But this is a very different experience, right? Like imagine it's like let's say you pay for business class on a flight, right? Which we all know I love.
Yeah, I was like,
getting upgraded
you afford that. That's
when
not my budget.
Possible. Well, no, because it's not that I pay for it. I just use points. I'm just smart about it. Right?
Wait, very important question. Are you flying business to Egypt?
I am. Yes. Bitch. If I'm going to be going on a shitty ass trip that I don't want to go on, also I got it for super cheap. Like super cheap.
Okay, we're going to discuss this later.
Yeah, we're going to discuss this later, but I got it for so like dirt cheap. It was insane. Okay. So like, let's say that you end up going on business and, you know, you're having the experience of that VIP feel, right?
Yeah.
But what the Kardashians did was they basically were like, we're going to buy out all of business class and basically force the airline to push everyone out and force them into premium economy.
Yeah. No, I get premium economy, not economy, to be clear. No, okay, fine. I get it. But what I'm saying is, like, I feel like that little glimpse of how the other half live for an extra $50 a ticket. All I'm saying is, like, I wasn't mad. So I get how it can get to your head, right? Like, they're collectively worth like billion, like I don't even know how many billions of dollars. But anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
I digress. They're assholes. You're going to Disney later this week. If you see them there, you tell them how you feel. Tell them to listen to The Basic and the Brain.
I'll be like, Chris, rep us.
Chris, manage us.
We'll make you proud.
Bitch, we want to be able to say, we want to be in a position to say, no presents for us today. Not today.
No presents for
okay.
us.
So what's the final story? Hit us. Let's go.
Last, we did talk about Coachella last week. And this one is a good one because it is a Coachella and Revolve Fest update. And for context for our listeners, Coachella weekend 1 happened. Simultaneously, Revolve Fest was happening too. And Revolve Fest is basically kind of like a mini version of a Coachella, and it was happening in La Quinta, which is sort of near Coachella Valley. And apparently Revolve Fest has been a complete and utter fucking disaster. Influencers have been complaining left and right.
As they do.
Essentially people were not able to get on their buses. People were almost getting run over because they were like running in front of these buses being like, let me on. People were shoving. And basically at some point, folks just like grabbed an Uber and just went back to their hotel. And they were like, yeah. Or they like literally went to a gas station to buy like t-shirts because these people were like half naked running around, and decided to like go to dinner at like a local place instead of waiting and being caught in the logistical nightmare that is Revolve Fest. And so a lot of these influencers are equating it to a smaller version of Fyre Fest, which I thought was comical. And then for Coachella, a fun little thing I've been seeing on TikTok all weekend is people have actually been turned away.
With tickets?
Like, and that's the first time. Yeah, with tickets. With their wristbands, they've been turned away. People have been insinuating that they basically don't want another Astro World. And so there's like a lot more vigilance around crowd control. But then again, it's like, why are you selling this number of tickets then if, you know, you don't have the space for them? So people are pissed. Literally, like people are getting turned away, even though they have, you know, their wristbands. Another thing I've been seeing is people have been buying apparently tickets off of SeatGeek. I don't know if you know of the brand. And apparently people have been getting scammed. They basically got fake wristbands. So it's just been a little bit of a mess this weekend for some folks.
So, okay.
Oh, and noise. Oh, sorry. Here's the other thing. Apparently there's been like audio issues throughout the festival this weekend too. So there you have it. There's all the things that I've seen, heard of, read about for this weekend.
Okay. So I feel like that's a lot. I think the whole Coachella thing, like I'm actually kind of surprised that it took this long for people to find a way to completely exploit the Coachella obsessed. Like, I don't know. I'm a little bit surprised that this is the first time that we're seeing that like en masse, given that Coachella is, you know, I feel like Instagrammer, Gen Z, like it's like their church, you know? That sucks though. And I wonder what they're going to do. Like, are they going to refund people? How do they know if you really got turned away? Is there a reason? Like I'm inclined to think that there was like a reason. It wasn't just we're at capacity, right? It's an open ground. Like people have tickets, blah, 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 whatever. So I guess, you know, that really, really sucks for those people that paid, but
I would be fucking angry.
There's got to be a reason why these people are being turned away, right? This sounds a little bit dramatic, a little bit like fake news. I guess
there's so many people on TikTok who literally are filming the fact that like, and they're VIP. These people are VIP. They have the VIP wristbands and they're the ones who are being turned around. And I was like, God,
that sounds wild.
I was like, you paid for a VIP ticket and you're being told you can't enter, that you're at capacity. I would be fucking livid. And
so
mind
they're saying
you,
it's capacity?
Yeah.
Specifically?
They're saying it's at capacity. Yes. And what's crazy to me is that I know what the experience is from getting on the shuttle, getting dropped off, like the long ass distance you got to walk to those gates, going through security. And then it's for someone to then turn around and tell me we're at capacity. I would have thrown hands. Like, I'm just going to be real. I would have thrown hands. Like, unacceptable. And so there's so many people in the comments being like, sue their asses, ask for a refund. Like, you can't tell me I just spent X amount on a fucking ticket. Like, and I can't go. I don't think I've ever heard of a year where people got turned around. Got told to leave.
No, that sounds crazy. Also, once again, this is why Coachella and other festivals are my least, like, it's my biggest nightmare for everything you just said. Like, you're sweaty, you're maybe hungry, there are lines. What if you have to pee? You got to get on a bus to then walk to get on another bus, and then you got to wait. No, I don't do those things. But this Revolve Fest thing, this sounds like a bunch of like entitled brats that are being a little bit entitled and bratty. Like, this is in no way, shape, or form, from what I'm hearing now, this does not sound like Fyre Festival. Like, Fyre Festival was a legitimate, it was a safety hazard. And personally, I think if you didn't get on the bus and then you jump in front of the bus being like, let me on, you can't then turn around and be like, they tried to run me over. Like, you jumped in front of a moving bus. The fuck do you think is going to happen when you jump in front of a moving bus? You cannot then say they tried to run me over. No, sorry, you don't get that. Also, the whole bus situation, maybe it is a logistical nightmare. Maybe like, someone messed up. They didn't order enough speakers, whatever it is. I'm not saying that, but like, there's water. You're in La Quinta. You're not in the middle of a fucking island that is uninhabited.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
I know. That's why influencers and Gen Z. Sorry. I don't really hate that, but like, this shit annoys me. Get a little perspective,
See, and this is what
kids.
I mean by like, even when you do get money and do get popular and famous, like, this is what I mean by like, you wouldn't be exhibiting similar behavior, I don't think. I don't think. I say this now, but maybe with not much confidence, but like 50% confidence.
I mean, no, I think it's just, I think I'm just old, and I think I'm cranky today. Got a lot of things. Woke up yesterday, the neck was hurting. I like skinned my knee last night trying to get into bed. Like, it's a whole thing. I got to show you my knee now so you can understand I'm not just making this up.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Wait, it's like really bad. Oh, can you see it?
Oh, what the fuck did you do?
I fell. I just tripped. Anyway, whatever. So I'm just a cranky bitch today, and I'm old.
Well, I wouldn't say you're cranky, because I mean, even for me reading all of this and seeing the videos, like, some of the people who are doing the videos, they said, Revolve Fest, just like do better. Like, this logistically was a nightmare.
Fair. I'll allow it.
But yeah, they were being like gracious about it. They were like, get your shit together and maybe I'll go next year. Right. And being like, this is the issue here. Just like fix it. Like, this is clearly a problem for people who are trying to get there. However, the fact is that like fights apparently erupted. But again, and, like, people,
sorry. Go ahead.
It's not them. I know it's not Revolve Fest's problem, but they did fuck up on the buses. And I think it's just kind of interesting in this day and age when Coachella has to be like this buttoned up thing. And then to just like, it's just funny that like one small inconvenience is now all of a sudden being branded as like Fyre Festival, which we know was a lot deeper than that.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, I'm so sorry that the free festival that you got invited to so you could take some pictures and post and get, probably thousands of dollars per post for partnerships and shit like that. And don't get me wrong, I'll do that one day. If it was an option, I'd sell my soul. Let's be very clear. But like, stop. And also, like, if I went to Fyre Festival and I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, I hate festivals, so I would never do that. But on a ticket and then got there and literally there was like a piece of bread and no water and shit. Like, I feel like I'd be very different. Like, I'm angry and I wasn't one of those people. So I would be like, bitch, you don't know what suffering is. You don't know. You don't get it.
You're cracking me up today. Oh my God.
This is like tired, cranky old lady Alina.
I mean, it's okay. We're both in our 30s. It's been a long weekend. I think it's time for us to go hermit away now. We'll see y'all guys on Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday. Don't have time for influencer tears. Peace.
Bye, y'all.